Hey beautiful people, how are you? My name is Connor.
And I'm Brittany.
And today we're going to be talking about our experience having a newborn and having people kind of wanting to connect with our newborn out in the world. It could be friends and it could be strangers, it could be family. And so we want to kind of talk about maybe some assumptions that we have as a culture around what's appropriate, and maybe just kind of take a hard look at that and check our assumptions around that maybe a little bit.
Yeah, that's great. I feel like you phrased that quite well. Yeah, the way that this has sort of come up for me has been, I'm holding Ilya a lot.
Right.
We hold Ilya a lot, but anyway, a lot of times people coming over and they see this sweet baby and they want to touch them, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, you see something cute and you just want to touch it.
And I think that there's some element of that that's really like beautiful and healthy and normal. And I think a lot of the intentions behind that really are. And then there's also this interesting thing that's like, we're coming into someone else's space and touching them kind of without their like consent. I don't use that word a lot, but like without their saying like, yeah, I want that. And it's interesting with Ilya, or with like someone who we can't necessarily get that from.
Yeah.
And it's interesting also because a lot of times people will ask me after they've already touched them sometimes, but sometimes before, just like, can I touch your baby?
As they're rubbing their back.
And a lot of times there's none of that at all. And I notice when they've asked me that, I say like, I don't know. Like I don't know how Ilya would feel about having your energy in their sphere right now, and specifically like being touched. And yeah, it's an interesting thing to be kind of like a caregiver for this other entity, and to be making decisions for them while they are so young and like need somebody to make decisions, and also simultaneously to be feeling like they're really their own autonomous being. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to be necessarily making those decisions. But while that is our role, I feel really sensitive to how they could feel about things. And I think that we've noticed that they don't tend to like it when energies are coming into their space, and especially when they're being touched by people who like don't know them or haven't like kind of entered the space with a ton of intention.
Our membership site is growing and we want you to be a part of it.
We have over 100 videos, so many exercises, tons of ways for you to learn, grow, heal, and inspire with us.
Come on over and see what it's all about.
Yeah, like your sister comes to mind. They really enjoyed their time with your sister, and it was just like, there was no assumption. It just sort of gently unfolded for both of them, and I feel like they really were having a dialogue about it.
Yeah, I think that's like a really important thing for us all to look at. And this goes into maybe a much bigger topic, but like approaching young humans the same way we would approach older humans in regards to respect and honoring them and knowing that they have the ability to communicate with us. It might not be in this language, but they're always communicating, they're always sharing information. And they're highly, highly sensitive.
Yeah.
So to assume that it would just be like, okay, I think to touch them is like a poor assumption, I think you can build up a relationship with a little baby, and it depends on the baby and how they're feeling and what their experiences are and just like what their soul is. You can build up with a new baby potentially in a very short amount of time, but I think they need some awareness of you. And maybe that's just you, like us, all like having a little bit more spaciousness and honoring and respect when we are noticing wanting to reach out, just taking a moment and like assessing the energetic field. And that is a very intuitive space. It has to be with a young human, because we can't get this more like left brain hard data of a yes or a no. We have to be in a much more feeling space. And I just want to add that I feel that the reason this has become a very important thing for us to share is that we have experienced that Ilya does not tend to enjoy that type of interaction, particularly when it's sort of pretty quick. And with my sister, she didn't reach out and touch Ilya for like a couple of days, or like a full day or something, or like her touch was very, just felt like she was asking, sort of, rather than this like, ooh, pretty thing, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like just being super sensitive, because babies, little humans, are super sensitive.
Yeah, and I think that this is a skill that really does extend far beyond little humans, and maybe we've become desensitized as givers and receivers in our society on a whole. Not everyone, and probably not necessarily you. If you're watching this channel, you might be like highly sensitive to this. I imagine that we have sort of become used to allowing or not sharing how we feel when certain energies do come into our space.
So true.
Like as full-grown humans or as young humans, I think it happens all the time for young humans, and it becomes really like commonplace.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, like I think that this is something that might be just a useful thing to think about for people of all ages. Like, how does it feel when that energy enters my space? Am I being like touched in a way, or even just having energy surround me in a way that like I'm really welcoming and wanting, or do I just feel like I'm having to sort of take this right now? Yeah, it's so interesting that that's become like a really normal thing. And I noticed that I think you and I put a lot of intention into this area, and when I really like when I'm approaching somebody to read the space, and if I'm not sure, to ask or to say like, would you like to share a hug, or whatever the thing might be. And with Ilya, I'm enjoying practicing similar things. And not every time, because I pick them up quite a lot throughout the day, but I really love saying like, can I pick you up right now? Like, this is what I'm thinking of doing. And just like really getting into that practice of communicating with them.
Yes.
And whether I'm saying that verbally or not, I feel like there's always like how are you feeling? Like I'm going to like start to do this action and sort of see how it's feeling for you. And then we can decide the next step together.
Exactly.
And they're always giving feedback. Like, it's really easy for me to see what they're wanting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it is a skill set that we can develop with any human, regardless of their age, and it will only be a benefit to our lives. And we all have like different skill sets, but I think like interpersonal relationships and developing skill sets there is such a benefit for humankind, and like learning how to empathically understand an energy and a situation and to properly read it. And through that process of learning how to do that, you may find it very helpful to ask and to communicate. And I think it would be so nice if people approached Ilya with that same intention and really connecting with Ilya's caregivers, because they have a direct line, or a more direct line than anyone else could. And also connecting with Ilya and like speaking to Ilya like directly and just being like, hi, I see you, and expressing maybe, I think you're beautiful and I want to touch you. You're like, I'm feeling really called to touch you, and then just like seeing how it feels. Because the more that we can respect our little humans, the more they will grow with that knowledge that like they're powerful and respected, and that means that they know how to respect everyone else.
I love that.
We need that, we need to continue to develop that, to bring, without like being too corny about it all, but like really to bring world peace and love to us all. Like we've really got to start developing these skills more, all of us. So yeah, I love this. I love this topic. I'm so glad it's so important. Yeah, I'm so glad we're talking about it, and I love the way it's being highlighted in our lives with Ilya. Yeah, it's so easy to see from like a different lens. Yeah. And like the sensitivity aspect is just like, you can really feel it. Yeah. Yeah, babies are amazing. They have so much to offer us. Thanks for joining us. Thank you. We'll see you soon.